I think what architects today are missing is there is a lot of power in what we are doing. If you have a popular architect who are doing a sort of uh, design, who's doing a form of architecture, a lot of people tend to copy them because now with social media, everything is you get to know instantly. So if there is a bar that is done with a certain design or a certain way, within the next 6 months, you will find 15, 20 of that in the same scenario. It's only because there's a lot of imitation that's going on. So architecture has that power to change lifestyles of people. I think introducing bars into homes is another small change that we've seen of the last 15 years. I don't think 25 years ago, a lot of houses had bars, but now every house has at least a cabinet, if not more.
Here we are saying that how people imitate your style, and it is all the more challenging for someone to stand as a different, unique person or a unique style that is there. Over it is your creativity cannot be stolen, isn't it? So, how do you keep that USP within, for example, in design workshop? You would be having some projects because they'll take inspiration from you or something, and it might feel good. Or, in the first place, do you feel good or bad about it?
Actually, very, very interesting because I think that I genuinely think there is nothing in today's world that we're inventing that's already not been done before. Very, very, very few things, and it is we're barely reinventing anything. We're barely I think if you talk about electric cars, it's thought of in the 50s. I don't think it's a new invention. It's basically we're driving to that thought at this point. I think it's similar with architecture also. So if anyone imitates you, you've already done a form of imitation of something before. So if you look at what trends are happening, you're looking at your more contemporary style, which was there before. You're looking at imitations of maybe the Roman architecture. You're looking at imitations of parametric, which is in line with what's happening with plants and nature and the geometric forms that nature forms, and we kind of copy that. Like there's a very popular architect called Zaha Hadid, whose I think her whole life is based out of studying natural structures and imitating that as a form of building. So I think most of us are inspired by it. I don't think I don't think anything is 100% genuine in today's day and age. I don't think anyone should assume that they're creating the best thing that's possibly there on Earth because it's already been done before. I think what Elon Musk does is his open IP, basically his protocols that he's just said, you can use my technology and build your own Teslas or cars or whatever. And he says it's just better for the humanity. And I think that's something that we should look at. I don't think I think it's a good thing.
But does it affect your business in some way?
So yeah, I mean, of course, you can't copy them. I don't think that's so. The way we work is we have a lot of clients who come to us, especially off late, that says, you know what, we have seen this on the internet, and this is exactly how I want my room. So what we do is the first thing we do is we work with the client to understand what their lifestyle is, how they live, how they should be living is something that we have a conversation with. They might want to have double the storage in their new house or new office or whatever, but it might not be necessary. They might just be wanting more because they've already finished what they have. So we try to understand what their lifestyle is and build everything to the niche. So I think the easiest way for any architect to do is imitation of a certain space. Like there is 4 or 5 different principles you follow, like your material, your color shade, and XYZ. You follow these and you should be able to replicate the idea behind the inspiration photo. But you should, what we do is we basically where we cater to what the client requirements is. And actually the few very interestingly, some clients say one thing but they showcase something else. So they will show me a picture of a very large bedroom, very plain, like you said, contemporary, with just a few centerpieces. but they would be having a conversation to us that indicates that that's not what they want. They would like a smaller space, something more cozy, more natural materials. So this is something that we've learned over the last few years to pick up on, so that we, at the end of the day, cater to what they want. So we always have a what they want versus what they need. So that's what we cater to. I think this is what that sort of separates us from what the market is doing. I mean, yeah, there are other people who are doing similar things, but this is, I think, what we are specialized in.
Okay, so in the requirement phase, so if let's just imagine I am a customer,
Yeah.
and I'm just coming and asking you that I am a middle-aged man, say, and I want a gaming room for my kid.
Yeah.
In reality, maybe it is for myself.
Possibly.
Right? That's it. But that's the situation. So what would be the process behind? Like, you take the requirements and how do you work it backwards?
Actually, that's so funny because we have a client who is doing that currently. So, I mean, it's not a gaming room, but he's someone who likes his luxuries, and his wife doesn't like as much. So we, in that family, we have two clients. We have the husband and the wife as a couple who's a client, and we have the husband who has secret ventures that he wants us to put in, and he say, I'll manage with the wife later. Once it's all done, she won't say break it. So I'm okay there.
These are regular secrets.
Yeah. So I mean, it's nothing naughty. It's all it's just luxuries that he likes, and I think that's okay. He wants it. He knows it's possibly the last house he's building. He doesn't want to break things anymore. I think those things are something that we do cater to. I think we do approach it. We do have that. I need her. So we have another client who likes smoking a little, and she wants places to hide it, which is inbuilt. So we do cater to those things. It's fun. I think it's fun. It's a fun part of the work we do.
And that's just natural.
Yeah.
So, okay, a little bit about the process behind, like what happens after requirement gathering. Where do you? I mean, basically you design. Also, it is something on my chest. I need to get it out. What is the basic difference between a civil engineer, your interior designers, and an architect? And where does one's work stop?
I think there is no physical, say, boundary of the three of them. I think actually when you look at a project, there are four stakeholders. So I think the first one would be the client, the biggest stakeholder, because he has the idea what he wants. I think then comes in your contractor and your architect, who have one has a capacity to vision what the client wants, the other has a capacity to execute what the client wants. So they go hand in hand with each other. As long as things are okay between the three of them, it's all good. The minute things go bad, there's always fights and all of that. I think that's part of the process. Yeah. I think interior designer is something that I have my own reservations about it. So if an architect is able to design a house well, because you build it from scratch, you build a house from zero. If you are able to cater to your clients with all their needs and their wants to the dot, maybe even 80% of what they want, I don't see a requirement of what an interior designer would be, except that it's an aesthetic input that they have. So if, for example, like if I am telling you saying, you're the client who's come to me, you have a requirement for wardrobes, you have a requirement for how the bathroom would be. Now, when an interior designer comes, the job of an interior designer is to envision what the space inside the room would be. But when an architect has already done that to a large extent, her input would possibly be change of a few materials, maybe internal details of what the wardrobe would be, and limit it to these things. Now, the amount of changes between this is quite low. So if an architect, I always believe if an architect is able to do a good job, you will barely require an interior designer to come into the process. You should be able to do 95% of your job. And yes, there will be, so you will always have some execution people who come in, like the contractor might just do civil, and then you might have an interior contractor also to execute your ideas. Now, if that is the case, that's fine. But if you're saying, I'm going to do as an architect, I'm going to finish my job, and then we hand it over to an interior person, who obviously will have their own ideas and their own thought process and the whole way they work. But if they're going to rethink everything that the architect has done, then what's the point of paying the architect the money that you are?
It's redundant.
I think it should go hand in hand. I think an interior designer should be redundant in her residential scope. But I think as a commercial, I think they are very important because you're looking at hospitality, especially, which is highly dependent on the ambience of this place. You talk about bars or a hotel. Interior design is where you would go. I mean, architecture would make a difference, but I think ambience created is important for that space. So that's a lot of interior design. So with residential, especially, I think you should be able to kind of hand over to the client 80%, 90% of what they're looking at.
So like you were saying, architects basically deal with all sorts of building, right? It's not just,
Yeah.
I mean, what comes to my head is basically a Bangla or someone of that sort.
Yeah.
But there is a total different segment called commercial, in phases, restaurants,
Oh, yeah.
co-living, all those things. So which is your, I mean, at least for design workshop, this is your bread and butter, or like, you have to pull a pie chart of it.
Actually, that's so funny because I think over the last 7 years that we've been there, we've moved from we always had a year and a half or about a year. It's a cycle that we followed. I don't know how, coincidentally. So we've done residential, and then we've done only commercial, and then we've done only F&B, and then we've done only residential. We've done only interiors. So at this point, we're at the only residential phase. But there is, like you said, there is literally every building that is built generally has an architect. We've done designs for single bathrooms, believe it or not. We've also designed one of the biggest museums in Bangalore. So I think it's called Curiosity Science Center. It's off Sajapur Main Road. It's about 4 acres and about close to an acre of built-up space. Very different thought process of how it's done. So we've done all sorts of work. As long as it's either exciting or it makes financial sense because we're a business, we're happy to pick up anything.